What is up and good morning everybody, welcome back to yet another spectating video and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at this guy Monzster. He is in the top 50 right now. This is a celestial lobby and I couldn't find a whole lot of good Venom players, so when I came across this guy I thought I had to share this because a lot of people do struggle with playing Venom, getting value out of him or just going in way too deep and dying. So this guy threads the needle pretty well, plays a good Venom, and so let's just get into the replay and we'll see what this guy does. As you can see, Grandmaster, sort of Celestial Lobby, high Grandmaster, all that sort of stuff. So, and he is actually playing against J3 in this game too. If you don't know who that is, he has a YouTube channel, plays with Tim the Tatman a lot. Good player. I think he played Overwatch as well, as are most of these people in the top 50, top 100. I feel like they are all like either professional Overwatch players, previous professional Overwatch players, that sort of thing. So you'll notice in this replay that he actually runs on walls quite a bit as Venom. This is something I don't see a lot of lower ranked Venoms do because he wants to save his swing to get out. Goes right in with his diving strike, uses his right click. Unfortunately, it's broken by line of sight. He uses his E as he drops low to get a massive shield and then drops back to heal using this pillar as cover. Climbs back up. Unfortunately, the pillar is destroyed right as he's about to use his diving strike, so moves over to another piece of wall. Dives back in, gets the little knock up, and then right clicks to keep that tether on people. Tries to stay near them so that he can do a little bit more damage. Opts to actually use his swing. His team is actually pushing up pretty well, so he's able to commit that swing, still feel a little bit safe. You know, he has his E up, so he's able to just kind of use his swing that he ordinarily would have gotten used to get away, but uses that there. Notice he drops low, doesn't have his E, backs up towards his healers, stands still on the wall so they can definitely top him up, and then runs through the cloak and dagger smoke on his team to get back in there, and just starts whacking away at this Adam Warlock and is actually able to take him out. Namor ult comes out, both of the cloak and dagger ults are traded, and his Wolverine ults somewhere in the mix there, I believe. Just sitting on point, kind of waiting for cooldowns, waiting for an opportunity. Sees them all grouped up, so he swings, opts to actually ult here, get a monstrous shield because he is hitting 4 people. The Adam Warlock stands still and reses there. Probably not the best place to res either, but he's taken out very quickly. His Loki ults, and I believe he is Invisible Woman ulting? No, I don't know what he did, but the Loki ult and his Invisible Woman ult are popped, so he's able to stay very safe and play a little bit more around this corner when he starts taking too much damage. Waiting for his diving strike to come back off cooldown, and looking for a way to get height and dive back in with his right click and just do some damage that way. Posturing in front of his team here. All the ults have pretty much been traded, so they have control of the point, and now they can just play this choke over here. They have a lot of forward momentum, especially because they take out the enemy Bucky. The enemy is down 1 DPS, so he's able to posture up here, play this corner, and wait for the diving strike again. Gets the nice knock up on the enemy team. Gets the tether onto the Luna. Pops his E to survive, and uses his swing to get out. Which I think is definitely the best play to kind of play Venom. You can be really aggressive and swing in, but if you're able to just climb a wall, play a little bit line of sight too if you're taking too much damage, and then just round this corner here, dive in, get the knock up, get the damage, get the other knock up. He takes pretty much the entire back line to no HP by himself, and they are able to just win this fight and keep the enemy back towards their spawn. The enemy Bucky actually ults into his cloak and dagger ult, so they should be able to stay pretty safe through that. His Bucky also ults, and they push this enemy team a little bit further back into spawn, making plenty of space between them and the point. Again, using line of sight, not just standing in the front line, taking a ridiculous amount of damage. He knows he has his E, so he can afford to take damage, but not giving the enemy too much ult charge. I did have a Venom the other day that we were just kind of trying to keep alive, and it almost would have been better to let him die because he was just kind of feeding enemy ult charge, so make sure that you are keeping that in mind as well. His Invisible Woman ult's there, his Bucky ult's there. The Moon Knight ult kind of cuts him off from his team, so he opts to climb this wall, try and get back. Needs to use his swing, catches himself on the ledge there. And the enemy finally pushes out of their spawn and is able to kind of get a little bit of pressure on them here. It also does seem important to be using your diving strike pretty much on cooldown. He's not usually holding it for a super long time, so making sure you're getting maximum value out of that knockup, getting that disruption, that good damage on the enemy backline, especially if you see both healers sitting with each other. Unfortunately, both the DPS members of his team are taken out, and the Invisible Woman ult on the enemy team is popped, so they won't be able to take anyone out here. His Cloak and Dagger ult and his Loki ults, I believe they both use Cloak and Dagger ult there, so a little bit of overkill, especially when his team was down 3 in that situation. But gets a nice swing here, cuts his time in probably half as far as running back to the spawn. The enemy Bucky ults and is able to take out like 4 members of his team, so he's just going to sit on this wall and reset, stay out of line of sight of the Bucky, doesn't want to get chased down, and wait for his whole team to respawn. This Mag is checking the corner here, probably scares the crap out of him there, and is actually pulled in and needs to pop his E with haste there. Something that is important to note about Venom too is if you're playing against people with a lot of CC, just definitely be careful with the stuns and that sort of thing, because you can get pulled into situations that you don't want to be in. And you can see there he gets pulled in, uses his E, gets kind of pulled in again, and he gets in a little bit of a sticky situation. Unfortunately, the Moon Knight, the J3 player on the enemy team, he gets a double kill, so their push is effectively ruined. Climbs this wall and looks for a diving strike. As you can see, you can have it be a pretty steep angle too, so you just need to be off the ground just a little bit in order for that to work. Just play around with that too. I've played a little bit of Venom, and it's definitely a character that you'll have to get used to as far as the feel. Gets right on the back line. The enemy Luna is taking a little bit more damage, so she opts to pop ult. They're not going to be able to kill anybody here, but he just still tries to go in here, build his ult charge, that sort of thing. His Cloak and Dagger ult, so they should be able to survive if they fight in this smoke here, so he's able to confidently play up and kind of zone this Bucky in the backline. His Wolverine gets a pseudo kidnap, and is actually able to take out the Magneto and the Cloak and Dagger. His Invisible Woman ult is popped, so he knows that if he just needs to get healed, he can just drop back into that, and they clean up the rest of the enemy team pretty easily, with the Moon Knight being the last touch, trying to trigger overtime, but it's not going to matter. They'll just usher in the first round victory with a score of 1-0. So pretty dominant first round, I would say. There is still a little bit of back and forth, but he plays a really good Venom, zones the enemy off, gets all that pressure on the back line, and you will see him do it yet again here. I apologize too if I'm recording these and I spectate someone and I had no idea that they were an Overwatch Pro. I never watched any Overwatch Pro League. I really just kind of played it for fun. So, yeah. So if I don't, definitely let me know in the comments if this person is someone I should know, or if they're known for any specific thing too, because that's always interesting information. If they used to be like an Overwatch hit scan player or something like that, it's always cool information. So drops low here, pops his E. To, I guess, reiterate, not really, but that's kind of a basic Venom mechanic. The lower you are on health, the more that your E shields you for. So don't be using it. Don't be diving in on high HP and using it. You will get no value out of it. So sees all the backliners up there and wants to go in. Gets right in on this Luna. Forces the Invisible Woman to help heal her, because she cannot just out-heal Venom by herself. Pops his E as he drops low and chases them down here. Uses his ult, takes her low, and the Luna actually ults there. I think she might have ulted anyway, but it kind of seems like she was forced into that just because she was taken low. His Loki ults the Cloak and Dagger, so he's able to stand in the smoke and get lots of healing to kind of cancel out that Luna pressure that they would have gotten. His Bucky ults, they're not able to get a whole lot off of it, and the enemy Bucky ults and is able to take out his Bucky because of it. His Cloak and Dagger ults, so that's the second Cloak and Dagger ult that we've used to get this point. And his Moon Knight is actually kind of popping off here, or the enemy Moon Knight pops off here, takes out 2, and he is going to fall pretty quickly without healers. So, enemy's able to take back the point there. Pretty much every ult in the game was exchanged there, so it's really just a matter of who got more value out of which ult. Gets a nice swing out of spawn there. Definitely practice those swings out of spawn too. That will make a huge difference on this character. Saves you a ton of time, and he's able to get right back into the fight, start building toward that ult charge, and actually they get a pick on the Moon Knight just to start it out. The Wolverine gets a kidnap, forces the fade out of the Cloak and Dagger. He gets a nice knock up here, goes into his ult, waits for the Magneto shield to be down as much as he can, and they get a nice 6-4-0, pushing back onto the point, just rounding 55% on the capture. So sitting in a really good spot, tries to make a little bit of space here, knows he can play this corner and just delay a few seconds from the enemy team, but drops back and plays this little wall right here, looking for the angle when they turn this corner. Misses the, actually gets kind of hooked in there and pulled in by the Invisible Woman there. So that was a situation where it could have gotten a little bit dicey, but goes right back in, disrupts, creates that space, gets taken low, does not have his E, and is pulled back in and taken out. So as you can see, Venom does really struggle with CC. Really didn't want to be in there. If his swing had gotten off, he might have been able to get out, but because he got pulled back in, when he doesn't have his E up, he's going to get shredded unless he's getting a ridiculous amount of healing from external sources. The Invisible Woman ult is popped due to the Loki on his team, so he's able to charge in here pretty confidently, knowing he will not die. Can save his E, takes out the enemy Invisible Woman, and the Moon Knight ults. Takes out one of his healers, but they are running a nice 3-healer comp, so they should be able to still stay pretty safe. Luna and Cloak and Dagger once again trade ults, and he's just sitting here, landing auto attacks, trying to take out the Moon Knight. Takes him low and is finished off by the Bucky. And they're able to pretty comfortably wipe the enemy team, exchanging all of those ults there and ushering in the victory. So there is a lot going on there as per usual, especially on melee characters. I feel like there's just way too much to look at. But I thought this was a pretty good framework as far as how to play Venom. If you're thinking about taking this character into ranked, you've played him a little bit. Yeah, important things to note, just kind of play those walls, use your diving strike off of walls instead of just swinging, trying to get way above the enemy team and diving striking, because you want to be able to have either like a web thwip, kind of shorter distance left shift to get out of there, or just do a monstrous swing out of there. As you can see, he does a pretty ridiculous amount of damage for how quick that game was. Good tank damage and blocks a whole lot more. So definitely try Venom out. He goes 19-3-2. Definitely try Venom out. Let me know how it goes. Leave a comment on the video. Like the video if you liked it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.